Good morning. Today we are with some solar installers whom you will not be seeing, and we will be discussing zero export device and we'll be discussing DG solar sync. For this video, we'll only discuss zero export device, and DG solar sync will be discussed in another video because that is a more elaborate video, right? So hi, I'm Dinesh Kaul from Control Electric Company, and we are the manufacturers of zero export device, DG sync device, curtailment devices, SCADA and whatnot. So this will be more of an interactive session, and there could be questions from the colleagues here. So there are two ways to curtail power. One is as cutoff based system, and second is a power manager kind of a system. So this is the basic distinction between the two. So in a cutoff based system, we essentially cut off power from the inverter. Output of the inverter is cut off. And in a power management, it is proportionally cut off. So in first one, it is like a binary device, on or off. So either there is solar power or there is no solar power. Whereas in the DG sync product, it is proportional. So if there is 5 kilowatt going into the reverse, it will curtail only 5 kilowatt. So this is the main difference between two methods. So for this video, we are going to discuss the cutoff type, zero export device. So, and this zero export device, the necessity has been there from day one, because wherever net metering is not allowed, you need to cut off. Whether you use the curtailment type of a power manager or you use a cutoff device, you need it so that you can stop power going into the grid, or sometimes you allow only X amount of power to go to the grid, rest should be consumed. So all of these facilities are available. For the zero export device, the full cutoff one, which we call as SolCon, solar controller. So SolCon, essentially, I'll be using this term, it is easier for me. So SolCon will cut off power, and traditionally and even financially it makes sense to use it only when up to 10 kilowatt of solar inverters. Beyond 10 kilowatt, then it doesn't make sense, because you are wasting solar power. You have put in a solar power to generate power, not to cut it off. So, but the cost of a solar manager, power manager, is so high that it doesn't make sense in 1, 2, 5, 10 kilowatt. It doesn't really make sense to invest that much. The ROI would be more than 5 years. So that is why we don't use it. That is the main reason. But below 10 kilowatt, it is the most preferred way of doing it.
About 10 kilowatts.
Below 10 kilowatt. SolCon is for below 10 kilowatt.
Okay.
SolSync is for above 10
About 10 kilowatts. Okay.
Right? Because SolSync is a power manager.
Absolutely. Okay.
And SolCon is a controller. Cut off. On or off. Solar power is being delivered or it is not being delivered. It's as simple as that. So that is why below
50 किलोवाट का सिस्टम लगाया और SolCon यूज किया, मींस 50 किलोवाट कंप्लीट कट हो गई.
Yes. That is right. It's a good example that Dipank is giving.
That doesn't make sense.
Wait, 50 kilowatt fully cut off doesn't make sense. But a 3 kilowatt fully cut off for 10 minutes, it doesn't really matter. 10 minutes में कितनी power generate हो जाएगी.
Absolutely.
So cut off, it works on DG and it works on grid both. Setting थोड़ी different है, but it works on both. It cuts off inverter when the reverse power is sensed. So you have a reverse power sensor which senses reverse power. The moment it starts sensing, or it could be programmed that it could be predictive also, which means when it senses that solar reverse power could be going, when it is approximately reaching that threshold, then it cuts off the power. So which means even if you are very, very particular that reverse power must not go into grid or into DG at all, then you can actually make it a predictive kind of a control, where the moment it reaches a threshold, it is nearing the threshold where the reverse power could be injected in next half a minute, 1 minute, then it will cut off.
So is it a programmable controller or contactor based controller?
It is a programmable controller, but that programming, it's a dedicated controller, not like the SoulSync controller. So it doesn't work proportionally. But even this is pre-programmed. It is pre-programmed at our factory.
Okay, means not PLC but some other type of controller.
Dedicated. PLC is a generalized controller.
Okay. Some
But
other
this
kind
is
of controller.
it's a different kind of a controller. Much simpler.
Okay.
Programmed at our end at a factory once and then sent out to site. And there are some adjustments, level adjustments that can be done at site. Right? So what this does is, the moment it senses reverse power going into grid or about to go into grid, it will cut off the inverter fully. And it will cut it off for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, it will automatically restart.
Okay.
And the interesting thing is, some of our clients have used it for 3 megawatt systems also. So the moment, because it's a very, very cost effective system. So now they had 3 megawatt of power, they had power ACBs. So the moment, the chances of reverse going was very low, but they wanted protection. Instead of using a power manager, which would be costlier, they used SoulCon. So the moment it would sense that some power is going into the grid or about to go into the grid, they would cut off the breaker.
Yes. Right.
And when they are cutting off the breaker, then they have to manually restart it, because their breaker did not have the auto reclose facility. So otherwise we could have triggered it. Even for 3 megawatt, people have used SoulCon. When the chances are so low, then it doesn't make sense to use a more complicated product. This is a very, very simple product.
But 3 megawatt, losses in a one single moment, because it's getting the complete cutoff.
Sure, you're right. You're absolutely. The losses would be tremendous. But the point is that 3 megawatt reverse power is going to go once. It's anticipated to go once in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years,
Okay.
or never at all.
Not at all.
Let's suppose your load is 5 megawatt, minimum load is 5 megawatt, and your
Okay.
solar power plant is 3 megawatt. So
Right.
you don't anticipate.
Absolutely.
But in the event,
Once in a blue moon.
once in a blue moon, let's suppose some major electrical faults happen and load breakers trip. In that eventuality, as a safety, they put in SoulCon.
Okay.
It's a very, very simple piece of equipment and very, very cheap, and a normal electrician can install it.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
I have one doubt. SoulCon cuts off the reverse power for 10 minutes, as you said. What if after 10 minutes power is still coming, reverse power is still
Yeah, it's a good
what will
question.
happen?
So it cuts it off for 10 minutes, and after 10 minutes, it will switch on again automatically.
Immediately after 10 minutes.
After 10 minutes, after cutting off inverter for 10 minutes, it will switch on again.
Okay.
Now inverter will take 1 more minute to supply power. If it senses again reverse power is going, it will cut off
In that 1 minute.
in that 1 minute.
Okay.
And if reverse power will start going or will go, it will cut off
Again, cut
the
off.
inverter again for 10 minutes, retry after 10 minutes, because the load condition would have changed in the meanwhile.
But if we talk about the 3 megawatt, so in that 1 minute, if 3 megawatt is going reversely,
No, it will not. 3 megawatt reverse will never go, because in 3 megawatt we will be sensing the threshold. If we are using predictive control, which means if it calculates that reverse power could go, not it goes, could go, it will immediately trip the. So the reverse power
it
will never go.
Not wait for 1 minute.
Oh, it will wait for 1 minute. See, inverter curve goes like this. The moment you switch on an inverter, it doesn't come, let's suppose you have a 3 kilowatt inverter or a 3 megawatt inverter. The moment you switch it on, it doesn't start making 3 megawatt.
Absolutely.
It will start with zero, and
0
in
to
1 minute it will come to full capacity, right?
Sure.
So that 1 minute was in reference to that curve of generation. So what I'm saying is that we will never see any reverse power going. So this is a foolproof method of doing the same thing. And it is so simple that your normal electrician can install it. You don't need specialized people. For SoulSync, you need specialized people. You need remote access, remote configuration, remote maintenance. But this, a normal electrician can do it. So the main advantage of using the SoulCon is that simple to install and very, very cost effective.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's a very for a smaller power plant, it is the best utilization tool for preventing power going there,
Going to great.
right? The disadvantage, of course, is that you lose solar power for 10 minutes.
That generation is lost.
Yeah, that generation is lost. So 3 kilowatt losing for 10 minutes is really not a big deal. And looking at the low cost, so it is justified. Then it is used when net metering is not allowed, when DG is to be protected, or when you need net metering for while net metering is being approved and you want to install it. The client can use the solar power plant while net metering is happening. Sometimes it takes 1 month, 2 months. So in the meanwhile, you can install it, then you can remove it because your normal electrician can do it. So, and you can use the same SoulCon somewhere else also. So you only need to stock one and use it at multiple sites.
We usually get this thing because NetMeter takes almost 45 days, 2 months to install. So, customer says, yeah, I have invested money and I want to use it.
Obviously.
So this is the thing we can install to our site so that the customer can start using it and
they can start using it immediately.
Oh.
And by the time approval for net metering come, then you just have your electrician remove few connections and it gets running. So it's a good idea to store one.
Right, that's right.
Some people ask me, sir, I don't need your SoulCon. I will just install a RPR, a reverse power relay. Sure. But what they don't realize is you use a RPR, it will trip your solar power plant or DG or grid breaker. So which is again doesn't make sense because then the client will be angry because he has to go and switch it on again. So that is why using a simple RPR is really not the answer for a reverse power relay. It is cheaper obviously, but it is not the solution. Client will get irritated in 2 days. Every time there is a reverse power,
It trips off.
it trips off. Then somebody has to manually go and switch it on, and client's production process cannot be stopped, right? It doesn't make sense.
If I ask you this way, if there is a domestic client with a load of 10 kilowatts, right?
Yeah.
We installed 10 kilowatt solar and we installed the SoulCon there, right? So as soon as the load jumps below 10 kilowatts, it will trip off, right? Because
It will trip off.
It will trip off.
Below 10, if it is 10 kilowatt, setting as a 10 kilowatt, it will trip the moment the load goes below 10 kilowatt.
Below 10 kilowatts, it will trip off. So after that, client has to go and fix it manually or
No, it is automatic, fully automatic.
And meanwhile, whatever load is running, direct load from the DISCOMs, will
The
that
load will continue to run.
Okay.
We are only cutting off the solar
Solar.
inverter. We are not
So
cutting
it is
off the
not
load.
We're not cutting off the load.
Client doesn't even come to know.
Oh, okay, fine.
The only way he can come to know is in remote monitoring. He can see today, my power generation was less. That is the only way he can come to know.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't touch the load at all.
I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, or maybe you just want to ask you this. If we are putting this, for example, let's take an example of Delhi. We are putting 20 kilowatts of the system and we install this SoulCon, right? But the DISCOM guy will come, okay, we are not giving you any authorization yet for the net metering and you install this. So will they question this or?
No, they are allowing.
They're allowing.
They are allowing.
That's what I was asking, okay.
They are if a DISCOM guy comes and he sees a device which is preventing reverse power, they will allow.
They will allow.
Yes. So
Great.
the life is expected to be 5 years.
Okay.
Maintenance is very cheap. It is, and a normal electrician can maintain. 1 year warranty is obviously there. Extended warranty can be arranged. Size 300 by 300 up to 15 kilowatt. 1 foot by 1 foot. It's really not much.
Okay.
And weight approximately 10-12 kilogram. So it's something that is so handy. The engineer can actually carry with him while going to the site, go and install it.
So we have to install it after inverter, right? After inverter.
So the installation will be done either before ACDB or after ACDB. So between inverter and ACDB you can install it. So the power wire will be going from inverter, 3 power wire from inverter to Solcon, from Solcon to ACDB, and then from ACDB to LT panel, evacuation panel. Or it can be installed inverter, ACDB, from ACDB to Solcon, from Solcon 3 wires go to the power evacuation panel. It's as simple as that. And then it also needs connections to the power source where you are cutting off the reverse power, which means the grid. You have to take out the grid cable, install 3 number of CTs there, lay a cable from there to Solcon, and that would be a 10 core cable. 6 numbers cores for CTs and 4 for RYBN. And you also need to give power, single phase power, to power up the electronic devices in Solcon.
Okay. Reference.
Yeah,
Okay. Reference card, okay.
a reference.
So we have to install CT plus the CDs and plus
Yes.
this Solcon.
Yes. So the toughest part in it is taking out the cables of client and putting in the CTs and then putting their cable back. That is the toughest part. If the client already has CTs available, or if he agrees to put in the CTs, you just connect them, bring the cable to. The distance between Solcon and the CTs should not be more than 10 meters in any case.
Okay.
So Solcon has always to be installed near the DG or near the grid panel within 10
Absolutely.
meters.
Where the reverse
After
power
ACDB
will not
would be beneficial.
After ACDB would be better. So where the ACDB cable is terminating into the main evacuating panel, that would be the best place. Anyway, the guiding point is that you use it in such a way that your distance of CT to Solcon should not be more than 10 meters. That is the limitation. There are many ways to get around that limitation also, but they are costlier. The simple way is install it such a, and it is possible because these are smaller solar power plants. So the distances are never large.
And later on we can put this CT and Solcon out from there as well as
Yes, later on you can remove it and use it some other site if the need be. The main components are reverse power relay with display, with settable displays, ratings, timer, which is also inbuilt into the scheme, IP65 enclosure, and some protection MCBs and CTs. This is the standard supply of a Solcon. And that's about it. It's as simple as this.
Solcon is Schneider equipment or it's
No. This is
completely
Control Electric Company product. This is not a Schneider product. Some components from Schneider are used,
okay.
but this is essentially a Control Electric product. We have been in this since ages. In a different format, not in solar. We have been using the same product for some other applications, and we have been at it since 1995. But in solar, it has been used since 2014.
Okay.
Right? Anything else that we need to discuss about Solcon?
This is done almost.
Okay, so I think for this we'll close the discussion for Solcon on this, and Sol Sync Load Manager, Curtailment Manager we will discuss in the next video. Right?
Sure.
Thank you very much. Bye.